the early summer of 1950, only 5 years removed from the end of World War II, with Soviet tanks, weapons, and training on their side, the communist North Korean army makes a move that surprises the world.
The North Koreans attack in the early morning hours of June 25th. They take their South Korean adversaries by surprise and they quickly begin to overwhelm the forces along the 38th parallel. And within a matter of a couple of days, they are in the South Korean capital of Seoul.
The U.S. Army, which had been downsized following World War II, is not prepared for this assault. The most readily available troops, neither properly equipped nor ready for combat, are in Japan as an occupational force. General Douglas MacArthur is selected to command a coalition of United Nations forces to repel the communist invaders.
No one seems to be able to stop the North Korean army as it marches like a steamroller to the south. By August of 1950, the North Koreans have bottled up the remnants of the South Korean army and the UN army up and around the port of Pusan, what we now know as the Pusan Perimeter.
President Truman launches an American counterattack by deploying the U.S. 8th Army to South Korea, who are quickly overmatched by the well-trained North Koreans. General MacArthur devises a risky plan to land at Incheon Harbor, the gateway to Seoul.
Incheon has got the most screwed up tides. When the tide comes out, it goes out like dozens of miles. And so you've got these tidal flats as far as the eye can see. So that first unit that gets landed there is going to be cut off for a while when the tide goes away.
In addition, the North Koreans were guarding this harbor, and the inlet to this harbor was also very easy to mine. So this was going to be a very dangerous and difficult assault for MacArthur's troops.
The audacity of MacArthur's plan is key to its success.
So Incheon is both a surprise move and one which gives the United States a tremendous strategic and tactical advantage. In order to get this particular advantage, MacArthur has to have very good intelligence on really the environmental conditions in Incheon Harbor. So he knows when to land, how many people, what kind of forces he will need.
Major General Charles Willoughby, MacArthur's G2, is tasked with coordinating various sources of intel for his commander. General MacArthur also relies heavily on intelligence gleaned by the 441st Counterintelligence Corps.
The 441st Counterintelligence Corps had 5 teams supporting the 8th Army. When you're on your heels in terms of your SIGINT and your IMINT capability, you're going to rely very heavily on your human capability. And through an ability to transliterate between the Korean language, Hangul, to the Japanese language, to English that U.S. forces could understand, having that system in place paid us some great dividends.
They're also keeping an eye on the beach there at Incheon. They're measuring the tides so that they can see what the Marines are going to face when they land, where are the best locations for them to land. And we're also flying some aerial reconnaissance missions over the port of Incheon and interpreting the aerial photographs that are being taken. And by doing so, they identify that there is a 16-foot seawall that these Marines are going to have to scale. Imagine if the Marines had landed on this beach and did not realize they were going to have to scale a 16-foot wall.
In addition, General MacArthur launches a plan to fool the North Koreans.
About a week before the Incheon landing, MacArthur also launched a deception operation at the port of Kunsan, farther south in the southern part of the peninsula. He did this to try to draw the North Koreans further south and to, again, maintain the secrecy of his actual plan.
On the 15th of September, 1950, General MacArthur successfully lands the American 1st Marine Division and the U.S. Army 7th Infantry Division at Incheon and completely surprises the North Korean Army.
Within a couple days after Incheon, 1st Marine Division and 7th Infantry Division get to Seoul, and all of a sudden all these North Korean divisions are trapped on the southern side of Korea, and they have to get back to North Korea or risk being annihilated and destroyed. And that's exactly what happened. The North Koreans start to retreat, and now the Americans that are in the Pusan perimeter launch their own offensive, and now it's a race. And now the North Koreans, instead of being on the attack, they're running pell-mell back to the safety of North Korea. And that was because of the Incheon landing.
People often refer to this as MacArthur's gamble, but I will tell you that MacArthur took a risk, and there's a difference between a risk and a gamble. You know, the gamble, you're betting everything and you might lose it all. But in a risk, you know what you're accepting and you know what you need, and you take every step possible to mitigate that risk. And MacArthur did that for Operation Chromite, to his credit.
Intelligence played a vital role in the planning, security, and surprise of Operation Chromite. Because of timely, accurate, and actionable intelligence, a commander's calculated risk paid off.